There went out a sower to sow. Some fell by the wayside, and others fell on good ground.
Bible scholars say good ground represents a heart that allows the Word of God to take root and grow in love and devotion.
That was her Bible study lesson. Mark chapter 4.
Reverend Anthony Thompson's wife, Myra, taught those same words the night she and 8 others were murdered by Dylann Roof.
Governor Nikki Haley said that Myra Thompson taught our state and country how to love.
I thought I knew how to love people, but when I met her, I found out I wasn't even close.
His praise shall continually be in my mouth.
Reverend Eric Manning is now Mother Emanuel's new pastor.
Are you concerned that there could be more mass shootings like what you experienced in this church?
There's always a possibility. I would pray that's not the case. But if we do not do anything, then evil will continue to rear its head.
When photos emerged of the Emanuel AME shooter posing with the Confederate flag, lawmakers and activists demanded that something should be done. 23 days after the Charleston massacre, Governor Nikki Haley removed the flag from State House grounds.
That flag does not represent the future of our great state.
But on white nationalist websites like Stormfront, the same sites that Dylann Roof frequented, exists an entirely different challenge.
When Nikki Haley removed the Confederate flag from the South Carolina state capitol, white nationalists online were angered by this action by the state, and they felt that the state were complicit in social movements.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
And at the same time, one of the most contentious presidential campaigns in recent memory was underway.
How hateful did social media get during the presidential campaign?
We did a study and looked at 12 months worth of Twitter data gathered during the presidential campaign. We were astonished to find millions and millions of anti-Semitic tweets.
However, it's impossible to know how many tweets were from real people.
Chatbots can be used on sites like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, any social media site, to automate communication on that platform. So what the bot does is it looks like a person, but actually it's an automated software program that's running scripts to make it look like a real human.
Bot or not, hateful messages were spreading on Twitter. And it was Twitter then presidential candidate Donald Trump used to communicate directly with voters.
It's an asset. I tweet well.
Trump might not get the validation that he wants in the media, that his ideas are valid, but there are groups of people online, his Twitter followers in particular, that support these ideas.
Some ideas, reformed neo-Nazi Christian Picciolini says, sound all too familiar.
Trump announces he's going to run for president. What did he say? What did he do that made you sit back and think, uh-oh?
The first thing that I noticed immediately was that he was using fear rhetoric to gain support.
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
A total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
His rhetoric all fit in line with the same fear tactics that I used 30 years ago, and in fact, the white supremacist movement has never stopped using it.
What Picciolini lived, Daryl Johnson monitored. Johnson is the former senior analyst for domestic terrorism at the Department of Homeland Security.
You were monitoring white supremacists, neo-Nazis since 1995. Why do you think they feel emboldened?
All during the election campaign, where he brought up the subject of building a border wall. The fact that we have a attempt to pass a ban on Muslims traveling from certain countries. These are things I saw on white supremacist message boards 10 years ago.
In November 2015, Trump spreads fake black-on-white crime stats, retweeting a bogus claim that black people were responsible for 81% of the murders of white people. These false stats originating from a Twitter account with a swastika avatar.
All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me.
You saw the propaganda years back. Same thing that we're seeing right now. The fake black on white crime statistics.
Yeah, white nationalists have forever used that to exploit racial tension in a community. We all know that it's, fake and that it's not true.
There's absolutely no credibility to that.
Right. White nationalists exploit the issue of black on white crime to hopefully radicalize someone into doing something violent.
In January 2016, Trump retweets the handle White Genocide TM. The profile uses the name Donald Trumpovitz. Trump retweets the account again in February. He also retweets Breitbart, a website often using racially charged and misogynistic headlines, and has tagged stories with the keywords black crime. By April of 2016, support for white supremacy on Twitter is off the charts. A study at George Washington University reveals a nearly 300% growth in followers of the movement from 2014 to spring of 2016. Dates that just so happen to overlap with much of Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And some researchers believe that is more than just a coincidence.
He is what we call opening the Overton window. This is a political theory where it's becoming more and more acceptable to talk about things that used to be publicly off limits.
In other words, white nationalists felt emboldened, openly expressing hateful ideas.
When I meet young people who are coming to the alt-right for the first time...
Richard Spencer, the man who made the term alt-right popular, saw his ideology in Trump's rhetoric.
It was a wonderful thing, in the sense that he was a nationalist populist, we were his vanguard.
A mostly online movement, it's difficult to define the alt-right, but it's no doubt fueled by white nationalists.
I don't really like the term alt-right. It's sort of a modern wrapper on an age-old problem of white supremacy.
It's a euphemism for racism.
It's a euphemism for anti-Semites, racists, and bigots.
Perhaps the alt-right movement may have seen another nod to their ideology when then executive chairman of Breitbart, Steve Bannon, was set to be Trump's chief campaign strategist. Bannon described Breitbart to a reporter at the Republican National Convention as the, quote, platform for the alt-right. The Trump campaign denied any involvement in the alt-right movement.
Did you say the Trump campaign is a platform for the alt-right movement?
No, not at all. We've never even discussed it internally. It certainly isn't part of our strategy meetings.
Throughout Trump's campaign and into his presidency, the tweeter-in-chief has repeatedly denied allegations of racism and anti-Semitism.
Number one, I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life. Number two, racism, the least racist person.
But racism and anti-Semitism aren't the only poison spreading to every corner of the web. Coming up next, the danger of fake news.
Did you ever expect someone to walk through the doors of this restaurant with a gun?
Never. I never expected it. I mean, that was definitely the worst day of my life.